And Carolyn calls me up. She goes, I don't know how to tell you this, but I don't know if I can have Khabib stay in my house. He threw my dogs outside.
Like when you're doing this to pray to God and you have these 5 prayers that you do during the day.
Oh, very good. Yeah, say hello, Wolf. You alive?
Alhamdulillah. I know you got this. They don't like this. Alhamdulillah. Tomorrow night I'm gonna smash your boy, guys.
He was barely, struggling to make it by. When he first came to us, he was looking for places to stay. People, I had some people. I had one of my awesome lady coach. She's one of the best wrestling coaches in the world, Carolyn Webster. She put him up in her house. She goes, I'll put him up. So she put them all in the house, and you guys are going to laugh. But she had some little dogs and stuff. Mm-hmm. And Khabib's deathly afraid of dogs. So he's deathly afraid of dogs. So what happened is Khabib puts the dogs outside, and they're inside dogs. And he puts them all outside. He puts all his gloves and everything on the trees to dry up with the wraps and everything. And Carolyn calls me up. She goes, I don't know how to tell you this, but I don't know if I can have Khabib stay in my house. He threw my dogs outside. I don't know. Khabib, what are you doing? What are you doing? He goes, Coach, I'm afraid of dogs. I'm very scared,
I don't know if you guys know this or not, but Khabib is a bit scared of dogs. I have heard Javier Mendez talk about this funny story some time back, but I didn't make much of it until recently when I saw a video of the former world's strongest man, Eddie Hall, trying to call his dog for Khabib to see it. But Khabib told him not to because even though he owns a couple of shepherd dogs, he is still not good with them.
Yeah, say hello, Wolf. You alive? He's lovely, honestly, he's really nice.
With the dogs, I'm like...
You are literally the scariest man on the planet.
Yeah, I know.
You're scared of a dog.
No, it's like a problem when they touch.
Oh.
And this is probably due to the fact that in Islam, dog saliva is considered impure, and if the prayer time comes, Khabib would not be able to pray in those clothes if any of the dog saliva touches it.
When you're in a camp, I would imagine that kind of having a rigid schedule like that and having extreme discipline and having a real purpose, like when you're doing this to pray to God and you have these 5 prayers that you do during the day, like it keeps you on the path.
Mashallah, brother.
I mean, those guys, there's something to whatever Khabib's doing that's not just technique. It's not just that they have great technique. It's not just that they're tough guys. There's also this devout sort of ideology that they've ascribed to, that they live their life by. They're so devout in their religious beliefs that they have so much confidence. It's almost like that's all taken care of. Like they can just concentrate on what they do.
Yeah.
Like that, God has a plan for everything. You don't have to have this existential angst that a lot of people roll around through life with. Alhamdulillah.
My experience with Joe Rogan throughout the years as a fan has been a mixed bag, and I'm pretty sure it's the case for a lot of Muslims. But at the same time, I always had respect for him. He seems like someone who's fair and objective and doesn't have that bias that many people in the West have when it comes to their view on Islam and the Muslim world, because of decades of propaganda, and everyone who interacted with him has nothing but good things to say about him. But at times, it was frustrating seeing him constantly give platform to all those Islamophobes who kept bashing on Islam without proper representation of our side of the story and without a pushback from Joe. And to be fair to Joe, he just doesn't seem to be that well informed about Islam or the Muslim world, and it did not look like it was done with bad intention from his part, because throughout the years Joe was one of the biggest promoters of the Dagestani fighters like Khabib and Islam and all of their team. I mean, if he was a racist Islamophobe and had hatred towards Islam like what some comments I have read in the past suggested, he wouldn't have all that high praise for Khabib and his way of life. My guess is Joe is just surrounded by that kind of people with those sorts of views. I mean, Joe is friends with Ben Shapiro for God's sake. But the good thing is it seems that the Dagestani brothers have had some good effect on Joe's perspective on Islam, and him bringing more Muslim guests like Firas Zahabi and Bilal also helped show and represent our side of the story to some extent. And maybe one day Joe will have a guest like Muhammad Hijab or Abdullah Al-Andalusi who will do a better job countering all those claims and misconceptions against Islam and Muslims.